Hey guys, Dylan here, and today we're going to be talking about yet again one of my favorite superheroes, that being Superman. And the controversy going around his catchphrase, that being for truth, justice, and the American way. Now, when this controversy first started a few months ago, I wasn't really covering superhero comics consistently, so I kind of missed out on covering that story. But now I'm going to kind of do like a pseudo covering of it now, because an interview clip has surfaced recently that has sparked the controversy again. So to give you guys a little brief summary of what happened, DC decided to change Superman's motto from truth, justice, and the American way to truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. DC says that this isn't done for political reasons or pandering reasons, that this was done for the fact that it needed to be updated and that the old catchphrase or motto was no longer able to be trademarked. I don't know which side is right on this, but either way it's dumb. If you can't trademark it anymore, just have him say it anyway and don't make money off of him saying it. So what, you can't slap that on a t-shirt? So what, you can't put a trademark logo next to it? It's not that big of a deal. Lots of people say things that can't really be copyrighted or trademarked. It's part of his history, and if you respect his history, you'll keep his motto. And for the people who say that it's because of a political reason, if it is for a political reason, it's stupid. I can get if you don't like America. I can get if you don't like Superman. But if you don't like America and you don't like Superman, you shouldn't be in charge of Superman. Superman represents America. Superman represents the American people. Superman was created during World War II because Americans wanted someone to be able to go and fight against Hitler and other problems that were plaguing the earth at the time. Superman has always represented America and always will represent America. So trying to change him now is stupid because he's almost 100 years old and we are well past the point where he could be turned into something different than what he is. He is an icon of pop culture. You can't completely alter him without people getting mad. So let's get into the article proper. Resurface interview clip shows co-creator Jerry Siegel confirms Superman stands for truth, justice, and the American way. We know how DC feels about Superman's once upon a time motto these days, which they've altered, and how some have portrayed the hero, like Tim Daly, have taken a liking to the new one for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. Others who are forever linked to the Man of Steel, namely Dean Cain and the average Joe who grew up with the character, are lukewarm, to say at least, to the departure from the American way after so many years. Most of them don't get it, and it's easy to see why. Dumbfounded, they ask themselves, why would Superman abandon the American way? Or his citizenship, which he has actually done? Why wouldn't he hold on to these things when he was raised by simple Kansas farmers, which is exactly what I've been thinking this whole time. A lot of people see Clark Kent as like some type of alien god who pretends to be a human. That's not Clark. Clark was raised as a human. Clark saw himself as a human. Clark Kent is human. He just happens to have superpowers. He didn't know about his life on Krypton. He didn't know about his role as being the savior of humanity till he got a lot older, at least in new incarnations of Superman. So to claim that Clark Kent is secretly just a persona for Superman to put on is stupid. He is Clark Kent. Superman is the persona Clark Kent puts on to go and save people. These are questions DC failed to ruminate over thoroughly and answered to a point in a way that alienates their readership. The answers typically boils down to Supes shouldn't be stuck in the past and should represent all people for now on in every background. He always did. America has always been a melting pot of many different people from many different countries. Has everyone always been treated equally? No. But we fought and strived to get people to that point, and we made good effort along the way. Superman is America. A DC editor's thinking there, in so many words, is you must be a certain background or nationality to relate to a small-town farm boy Clark Kent. I relate with him, and I never was raised on a farm, but maybe that's just me. Pushed back against the ethos by various readers and comics and comic insiders of varying stripes, from Ethan Van Sciver, which I don't want to fucking start quoting him, to Gabe, I'm not gonna try, and Eric July, I like his last name, is academic at this point and is a topic to delve into again for another time. What's crucial at the present is the creators who balk at DC's whims and the average John Q fan who understands what a cultural icon Superman is and have support of the surefire VIP of the comics lore. Someone who knows all about the Man of Tomorrow because he created him. I'm talking about the legendary Jerry Siegel, whose words of wisdom about Superman means, stands for, and why he was created echo from beyond the grave. In an unearthed clip from an interview in the 1980s with BBC4, Siegel says quite clearly he agrees with the idea. The video was shared on Facebook by the page Comic Book Historians, and at first Siegel opened up about why him and Schuster conjured Big Blue onto the page. With the world in such a bad shape during World War II, he said, people desperately needed a crusader, if only a fictional one. Asked then if he could say what Superman stood for, Siegel replied exactly the motto used on the TV show starring George Reeves. That's to say, truth, justice, and the American way. To clarify, Siegel describes the Man of Steel as a very clean-cut guy who could rule the world and is all-powerful, but instead he uses his powers to aid the helpless and the deserving, rather than exploit them. There you have it. Testimony from someone who ought to matter in the conversation. And I can agree with this. The fact that even the creators say that, yes, this motto represents their character. The fact that the creators straight up say that everything people think Superman is today is not what Superman is. The people who want to make Superman some edgy nihilist are wrong. That's never what his character was. That's never who he was. That's not a proper depiction of Superman. If you care about the character and you care about his legacy and you care about what the creators thought about the character, you would try to make him act in character when you do an adaptation of Superman. But I feel like nowadays a lot of people don't care about the history, don't care about the creators, and don't even care about the character. They just make stories to fucking push an agenda. And they even tell you that's what they're doing. Siegel and Schuster's look back at the genesis of Superman in comics, an in-depth exploration of his history by BBC documentaries can be seen in the following video. And there's the video right there. I'll be sure to play it at the end. For many, and I'm sure for Siegel, he is talking about America in a nutshell, and what American way means, to lift up the little guy and resist tyranny, like Superman always does. Bearing in mind, I mean only on Earth Prime for the most part, outside of any Injustice-style Elseworld scenarios. Yeah, of course. If it's an alternate universe, I don't care if Superman acts in character. If you're gonna do your own TV show set in its own timeline or whatever, I don't give a fuck. If you're going to do your own video game or whatever and it's not supposed to be the Superman, I don't care. The only time I care is when you make the main Superman do something Superman wouldn't do. That's the only time I really care. I will bitch about the other ones because I like to bitch about shit, but I only really get offended when it's the main comic Superman being fucked with. DC is turning their backs on this legacy, and it turns out the wishes of the character's creator, whom they stifled before for decades. When it came to remuneration, how sad that some things never change. And that was everything on this topic. I feel like I've been able to cover something I didn't get to cover before. I feel like I got to speak all of my opinions on getting rid of truth, justice, and the American way. I feel like I got to talk about everything that I feel like people are doing that's incorrect with Superman's portrayal in the comics. I'm interested what you guys think about all this. If you guys have something about this that you want to talk about, comment down below in the comment section. You can discuss this freely with each other. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. If you really like this video, then share it. And if you want to see more content like this, then subscribe. I have a Patreon where you guys can help support the channel. I have decided to switch everything over to just be about comic books, superheroes, reading fan fictions, reading creepypastas. If you want to see me do more stuff like that and have fun on YouTube and give you guys more content, then go check me out on Patreon. Any donation helps, and I appreciate every donation I get. Thank you guys for watching, and bye.
And gave rise to Hitler should have been innocently appropriated by two young Jewish boys from Cleveland, Ohio.
Right around that time, the world was in pretty bad shape, and as you know, right now it's not in such wonderful shape either. But back in those days, there was Nazism was rising up, and a lot of innocent people were being killed, and countries were being invaded. A lot of innocents slaughtered, and I felt that the world desperately needed a crusader, if only a fictional one.
So, what could you say that you felt that Superman stood for? Or stands for?
Well, exactly the motto that they've used on the television show: truth, justice, and the American way. A very clean-cut guy who could rule the world and is all-powerful, but instead he uses his powers to aid the helpless and the deserving rather than to exploit them.